Every year, more than 3.5 million tons of coconut oil are produced worldwide. With the global market valued at over $5 billion, coconut oil has become a craze in countries like the United States, China, and all across Europe. But do you know how it's made? In this video, you'll see all the stages of coconut oil production, from harvesting the raw material to the final packaging. It all starts with the raw material, and the quality of the oil depends directly on the quality of the coconut. For oil extraction, the chosen fruit is the mature coconut, the one with the brown fibrous shell. Unlike the green coconut, famous for its refreshing water, the mature coconut has a much thicker, firmer flesh and, crucially, is rich in fat, which can reach a concentration of more than 35%. The harvest itself is a task that requires great skill. In many places, it is still done in the traditional way. With agile workers climbing the coconut trees, which can reach over 30 meters in height, to cut the clusters. After the harvest, the coconuts are gathered and transported to the processing unit. When they arrive at the factory, they go through a first and important selection, where those that are damaged, cracked, or show signs of mold are discarded so as not to compromise the quality of the entire batch. With the coconuts properly selected, the next step is to extract the white, oily pulp inside. The first step is to remove the outer shell, that thick and fibrous part. This process is called peeling. After removing that first layer, the next challenge is to break the hard inner shell to finally extract the pulp. The coconut is then split in half. With the coconut open, the white pulp is carefully separated from the hard shell. This process often still depends on the manual skill of workers who use special knives with curved blades to scrape out the coconut meat. This freshly extracted pulp is then washed with potable water to remove any residue or dirt. It is at this exact point, with the fresh and clean pulp in hand, that the industry faces a crossroads, a crucial decision that will define the type of oil to be produced. There are two main paths to follow: the dry process and the wet process. Let's first explore the dry process, which is the most traditional and widely used method in the industry for large-scale production, resulting in refined coconut oil. The first step of this method is to dry the fresh pulp. The goal is to remove most of the moisture to make oil extraction easier and at the same time prevent the material from spoiling. This pulp, once dried, gets a new name: copra. With the copra ready, dry, and brittle, it's time to extract the oil. It is first ground into smaller pieces and then fed into large mechanical presses, most commonly expeller-type presses. To visualize it, imagine a giant screw turning inside a cylinder with small openings. The ground copra is crushed and compressed with enormous pressure as the screw turns. The heat generated by the intense friction also helps to release the oil, which flows through the openings in the cylinder. Two products come out of this process: crude coconut oil and a solid byproduct. The crude oil, however, is not yet ready to go on the shelf. It has a yellowish color, a strong odor, and contains several impurities. To become the product we find in the supermarket, it needs to go through a three-step purification process. First, refining or neutralization. The oil is mixed with an alkaline substance, such as caustic soda, to neutralize the free fatty acids that can give it a rancid taste. This forms a kind of sludge which is separated by decantation or centrifugation. Then during bleaching or clarification, the oil, still dark in color, is filtered through special activated clays such as bentonite. These clays work like a sponge, absorbing pigments and other impurities, leaving the oil with a clearer and cleaner appearance. The final step is deodorization, which removes any unwanted odor or taste. The oil is heated to high temperatures, above 200 degrees Celsius under vacuum, and steam is injected. The final result of this whole process is refined coconut oil. Transparent when liquid, white and solid at cooler temperatures, with a neutral taste and odor. But that's just one of the ways. Now let's get to know the other route, the wet process, which leads us to a completely different type of oil, usually labeled as virgin or extra virgin. The main difference is that it starts with fresh coconut pulp, not with dried copra. In this method, the fresh and washed pulp is finely grated or ground. Then a little water is added and the mixture is pressed. What comes out of this pressing is the white, creamy liquid we all know, coconut milk. This milk is actually an emulsion, a delicate mixture of oil and water. The big challenge of the wet process is precisely to break this emulsion to separate the oil from the water and solids. There are several techniques to do this. However, the most modern and controlled method for producing high-quality virgin oil is centrifugation. The coconut milk is placed in an industrial centrifuge, a machine that spins at very high speed. The centrifugal force, much more powerful than gravity, separates the components by density in a matter of minutes. The heavier water goes to the bottom, the solids stay in the middle, and the pure, lighter oil accumulates at the top, ready to be collected. This process is fast, hygienic, and gentle. Crucially, it doesn't use excessive heat, which helps preserve the oil's most delicate compounds. That's why the term cold-pressed is often associated with this type of oil. The product obtained through this method doesn't go through any chemical refining, bleaching, or deodorizing process. That's why it keeps its light color, and most importantly, the characteristic flavor and aroma of fresh coconut. Regardless of the coconut extraction method, whether dry or wet, the oil's journey is not over yet. Before being packaged, it goes through a final filtration to ensure it is completely clear and free of any solid particles. Next, samples from each batch are sent to the quality control laboratory. With the laboratory seal of approval, the oil is finally ready for the last step, packaging. It is pumped into automatic filling machines, which accurately fill glass or plastic jars, cans, or other containers. The packages are then sealed, labeled with all the necessary information, and boxed. And that was today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.